Hey everyone, and welcome! Now, before we get started, just a quick reminder that you can really lock in your knowledge for any SPM topic by doing some active learning over at mcqspm.com or by grabbing the MCQ SPM app from the Play Store. Okay, so today, we're going to crack one of the trickiest topics in the entire SPM chemistry paper, salt solubility.
So, you're in the exam hall, the clock's ticking, and you get a question like this. Your heart kind of sinks a little, right? You're trying to recall this giant, complicated table of rules from your textbook. The most common mistake here? Panic, and just take a wild guess.
And that guessing game costs students precious marks year after year. But hey, don't worry, because that all ends today. After this quick explainer, I promise you, you're going to have a secret weapon that lets you answer these questions with total confidence. You'll save time, and you'll get those marks. All right, let's jump right in.
Here's our game plan. We're going to look at why this is such a trap. I'll give you your new secret weapon. We'll test it on real exam questions, cover a tricky exception, and by the end, you'll be a master.
Okay, first up, let's really understand the problem we're trying to solve here. Why exactly do so many students get stuck on this topic?
I mean, at its core, the idea is super simple, right? It's just like making a cup of tea. You stir in some sugar and poof, it disappears. It dissolves. It's soluble. You try to stir in some sand, well, it just sits at the bottom. It's insoluble. That's all solubility really is.
Now, this is the reason for all the confusion. This is what your textbook tells you to memorize. Just look at it. All these different salts, all these rules, all these little exceptions. Trying to cram this whole thing into your head, that's the trap. It is not a good way to study, it's super stressful, and it's so easy to mix things up under pressure.
So, you know what? Let's just throw that whole table out. I'm going to show you a much simpler way to get all the right answers. We're going to use something called mnemonics, little memory tricks. And trust me, this is our secret weapon.
Here is the first and honestly the most important rule you need to know. For salts that are always soluble, just remember the word SNAP. If you see a salt that contains sodium, nitrate, ammonium, or potassium, it is soluble. Period. No exceptions. SNAP salts always dissolve. Got it?
Okay, so what about the insoluble ones? Let's start with the chlorides. For these, you just need to remember 3 letters, PAH, Pa. If a chloride has lead, silver, or mercury in it, it's insoluble. Any other chloride, it's soluble. That's it.
All right, next up, sulfates. The mnemonic for this one is BACHA. Barium sulphate, calcium sulphate, and lead second sulfate. Those are your insoluble ones. If you see any other sulfate salt, you know it's soluble. And finally, the carbonates. This one is probably the easiest rule of all. Just assume that every single carbonate salt is insoluble. They don't dissolve. The only time they do dissolve is if they're paired up with our friends from SNAP. So sodium carbonate, ammonium carbonate, and potassium carbonate, those are soluble. All the others are not.
So you might be thinking, okay, that seems simple, but does it actually work in a real exam? That's the crucial question, right? Well, let's find out. Let's use our new secret weapon on some actual past year SPM questions. Okay, check this out. This is a classic question from the CADA 2013 paper. They give you a list of 4 salts and ask you which ones are insoluble. Let's not guess, let's solve it with our system. All right, let's think this through. First thing we always do is look for SNAP. Okay, option I is sodium chloride. S for sodium, that's in SNAP, so it's soluble, gone. Option 3 is potassium nitrate. P and N are both in SNAP, so it's definitely soluble, gone. So now we're left with II and IV. Let's check barium sulphate. Is it on our BACHA PEB list for insoluble sulfates? Yep, there it is. So that one's insoluble. And what about lead 2 carbonate? Well, it's a carbonate and it's not a SNAP one, so it has to be insoluble too. Boom! The answer is II and IV. See how quick that was? No stress at all.
Let's do one more, just to be sure. This is from SBP 2013. It's a multiple choice question asking for just one insoluble salt. This is a very common format. Okay, let's run the system again. Option A, silver nitrate. N for nitrate is in SNAP, so it's soluble. Eliminated. Option C, ammonium chloride. A for ammonium is in SNAP, soluble. Eliminated. Now we're down to B and D. Let's look at D. Calcium chloride. Is calcium on our PAHA list for insoluble chlorides? Nope. So calcium chloride is soluble. That leaves only one option. B. Barium sulphate. And sure enough, barium is on our BACHA PA list. Bingo! That's our insoluble salt. Okay,
You guys are doing great. You've got the main rules down pat. Now, I'm going to give you an expert-level tip. This is a special case that examiners love to throw in to catch people out. Knowing this will really put you ahead of the game.
And this picture shows it perfectly. Remember lead from our PA rule? Well, lead-2 chloride and lead-2 iodide have a really cool special property. They're insoluble in cold water, just like the rule says. But if you heat the water up, they actually dissolve. Then, as the water cools back down, you'll see the solid salt reappear. Just keep that little hot water trick for lead salts in the back of your mind.
All right, let's pull all of this together. We're going to lock this knowledge in so that it's second nature to you when you walk into that exam. Here it is, your complete master key, all on one slide. Seriously, take a screenshot of this, write it down, do whatever you need to do to memorize it. SNAP for soluble, PACH for insoluble chlorides, BACHA P for insoluble sulphates. All other carbonates insoluble except for the SNAP ones, and don't forget that little hot water trick for lead-2 chloride. This is everything you need.
Look, knowing the rules is one thing, and it's fantastic. But how do you make sure it sticks? True mastery, the kind that gives you speed and confidence when that exam clock is ticking, only comes from one thing: practice.
So, this is your final mission. Put this new knowledge into action. Scan this QR code, or just go straight to mcqspm.com and do some of the past year questions on this exact topic. The more you do, the faster and more automatic it will become. You can turn this knowledge into a real skill. You've got this. Good luck.